Hello, welcome to today's session. I came across a really lovely quote. I don't often find yoga quotes that I like. Some of them are a little bit trite. But this one in particular resonated for me. And so let me read it to you. It comes via Judith Hanson Lassiter, a yoga teacher from the United States who's about the same vintage in experience and age as I am. She says, in every asana, we need to have two things. We need to have an anchor, and we need to have freedom and movement. So the movement is shaped by the anchor. We need to understand not just what part of our body is moving or stretching, but equally pay attention to the part of our body that's being still. So I call this being grounded in poses, and that would be something that we can practice in various asanas today. We'll need a host of props. I've got a blanket, a couple of blocks, a strap. Actually, I have a bolster that I'm sitting on to a larger one, and that will probably do it. Let's begin by sitting and doing some yoga breathing. Not a simple thing, sitting. When we consider yoga seated poses, we want to be seated as much as possible on our sitting bones. So you can see me wiggling around so I can sit more easily on the front of my sitting bones. And then in good posture, we need to be relaxed. So the intention is to sit tall, but to be relaxed through our shoulders and our facial features. And in this particular breathing, let's start by just resting the hands onto the thighs, elbows near to the sides of the waist, and close the eyes and connect with your breathing as it is in the moment. And then the next step would be to let the breath be a little bit more prolonged on the inhalation and the exhalation. Breathing in with a little more fullness and breathing out in that same fashion. And let's just stay here for 10 of these, a little bit more than your normal length of breathing. 10 rounds. And settling into your more and more grounded position through the points of contact with the floor, with the bolster that you may be sitting on. So your feet, your legs, your pelvis, all supporting. And then the upper body relaxed. See if you can spread and expand the breath so that you feel it at the front body, sides of your body, and back body. And feeling grounded through your base and sitting tall through the spinal column. Bring yourself into your body, into your breath, into the space that you occupy. And then let's complete this breathing the attention to breathing here in the seated position, and open your eyes and stretch out your legs. Let's take a lying down position on your mat, lying down on your back, legs bent. And straight away, and not to forget the emphasis on breathing, rest your hands over your torso, your lower torso, your abdomen, and then allow the breath again to be a little more protracted. Inhale fully, inflating the abdomen. Exhale, deflating the abdomen. Inhale, allow the breath to be full and expansive. And exhale, that nice release of your breath. Drop your arms by your side and press your shoulders into the mat. We're going to start to wake up the upper part of the back. It's part of our feeling of being grounded, and release. And again, a little pressure and letting go. And then leave off the shoulders for a moment and press your hands and your arms down. These work well on the exhalation, these emphases, and then exhaling, inhaling. Exhale and press the tops of your arms, and exhale. And then see what happens when you press your feet and leave off pressing your hands or your shoulders. And for me, when I do that and then let go, it's just the beginning of a pelvic tilt. So pressure through the feet, a little tuck through the pelvis, letting go, and a tilt of the pelvis towards the feet. Let's do that again, and pressure through the feet. All kinds of leg muscles switch on in this movement, and release. And then, I think we can do this. Press your hands, press your shoulders, press your feet. And then let's come into a little bridge. And lifting off with the help of the hamstrings and the lower buttock muscles. And exhale to ground and let the spine articulate all the way to the floor. Let's come up and slowly elevating the pelvis. It doesn't have to be a big movement, but you're very aware of those points of contact with the ground. Let's make this a little more challenging and take a rest for a moment, just resting with your hips down. And picture this in your mind's eye. When you lift up into your bridge, you're going to lift one heel, replace it, and lift the other heel. Let's come up. Pelvis lifts. Right heel and down, and left heel and down. Let's go back and forth like that for a few times with a little rocking movement through the pelvis. And one more right, and one more left, and to ground. And I think we've done well thus far. So let's add one more element of challenge. Lift up into your little bridge. Shoulders are part of your anchoring, your arms, your hands. And then as you lift your right heel this time, see what it's like to lift your right foot off the floor. Replace it. And then left. Heel comes up, foot comes up, just a little, and down. Take pause there. You're in your bridge. Notice that rocking that happened for me from side to side. So let's anchor Left foot, press it down a little bit more. Hands, shoulders, and then lift your foot a little bit. And come back down. And other side. Right foot, strong pressure. Left foot, lift off. And both feet on the floor. One more round, which is right and left. Keep the opposite foot really engaged when you lift up its mate. Good. And resting. And that was a bit of work. And lowering down from the upper spine, mid-spine to the lower spine. And just rest there for a moment. We're going to release from those bridges with windscreen wiper pose. Step your feet apart as wide as your mat. Move your arms out to the side. And merely let your knees drop right and then drop left. We're just going to go like in that pattern of your windscreen wipers, right and left. And then pause in the middle. Just check that your feet are still wide apart. And the next time that you bring your knees to the right side, lift your left buttock a little bit. Make sure that feels fine for your back. And then let's go the other way. And we go knees to the left. The right buttock lifts a little bit. Along with your windscreen wiper movement with your legs, you might rotate your head side to side, opposite from your legs. All right, and last time, right and left. Back to center. Bring your feet closer together. And now we're going to take up a folded blanket. I have a small bolster, which is about the same height as my folded blanket, so I'm going to use that. So if you would bring that onto your mat. So this is going to be a pillow for my head when I'm lying on the side of my body. I'll start with the right side and take that support. And my legs are bent with right angles. Right angle behind my knee, right angle at my hips. And then what do I do with my arms? My arms are straight out in front of my chest. Now we're going to do a little kindness to our thorax in a gentle way, bringing the left arm up off the right arm and up towards the ceiling. And maybe a little bit behind the back of the body. And then closing the arm. The arms are like a clamshell opening up. And that left arm lifts and you're taking it back. And forward again. Returning to that one more time. And back to close the hands together. And wait there. So your knees are in a line, your hands are in line. Bring your left fingertips onto your left shoulder. And then rotate. So we're doing small circles. The left hand resting on the left shoulder and rotating that. So connecting that arm movement with the shoulder girdle. And then the other way. I got a little self-adjustment there in my shoulder. And then both arms and hands together. And we're going to do the other side. So you'll be lying on your left side. Let me come over to this side so you don't look at my back. And setting yourself up well so your head and neck are comfortably supported. And then the right angles at knees and hips. Join up your hands in front of your chest, your arms in front of your chest, and then open your arm up towards the ceiling. That might be enough if your shoulder is bothering you for some reason, or you might bring it behind the line of the body a little bit more. And closing the arms back together and up towards the ceiling. If you're following the movement with your line of vision, then you're getting a very gentle neck rotation too. And that's usually not a bad thing. All right, and then let's complete those movements and bring right fingertips to your right shoulder, and let's do some circling with your bent elbow, your elbow, and round. And then the other way. Like I said, connecting with the shoulder girdle, maybe the scapula on that side, and then two hands together. And we're ready to move on to standing up. And all the way up to standing with your mat free of props for the time being. In every session, for my own practice and in these videos, I like to do a balancing pose. So this isn't predominantly a balancing theme for this session, but nevertheless we can slip one in. So I'm going to come over to my wall space, and I may or may not need it, but just standing about maybe a forearm's distance away from the wall. A simple movement. Rest your fingertips onto the wall if you're going to use it, or just have your hands onto your hips, and lift your heels and come up onto the balls of your feet and lower down. Repeat that movement and stay towards the inside of your feet so there's more pressure on the base of your big toe than on your little toe. You might be clever and be able to lift your little toe too. And coming up and down. Make sure that you're not holding your breath as you're holding your lift and down. Now I'm going to do this a couple of times without the support of the wall, but make very sure, and you can tell because you've got the wall in front of you, that when you lift up your heels, that you're going up in a straight line, not leaning into the wall. The wall is going to be your truth teller here. And coming up on the ball of your feet. Good, and breathing and down. For some people, that's a really easy movement. I'm having some difficulty talking and doing this at the same time, but nevertheless, you may not have that problem. And down. One more time, and let's see if we can hold it this time. And all the way down. And then onto your mat and center yourself on your mat. Maybe shake it out a little bit if you are concentrating on balancing in that last part. So let's do a little nice work for your arms and shoulders. Bring your arms forward and up. And when I do this, I self-correct because and probably you have had this habit in the past, or maybe you've corrected it. You lift your ribs forward and up too. So I want to bring my ribs down into my abdomen and keep them as part of my anchoring instead of bringing them forward and up. That puts pressure on my back because it puts me in a back bend. And this is all about a vertical line. So let the diaphragm ribs settle into the upper abdomen And then let's do an alternate arm stretch. As you extend up through your right arm, press down through your left foot. And extending up through your left arm, anchor down through your right foot. And let's go back and forth like that a little bit. And this is amazing work for the line of the side of your body. Not just an arm movement, but in the back body, scapular movement, and stretching your waist. And with that really nice intention to stay anchored through your feet. And then pausing in the center, bring your arms forward and down. Maybe a few shoulder rolls. Take your arms out sideways from your shoulders and stretch the tips of your fingers. And then sometimes you can do about 5 or 10% more, stretch out to the side. And then let's add a shoulder rotation. So turn your palms up towards the ceiling. And as you turn your palms to face the ceiling, lift more from the little finger side of your hand, sort of thumbs down behind you, little fingers up, and feel that opening through the armpits. Turn your palms down, lower your arms down. Good. It's a bit of work too, isn't it? Strengthening work to keep the arms in an elevated position. Here we go. And arms out to the side again. And feel the lengthening upper arms, elbows, forearms, wrists, tips of your fingers, palms up version, little fingers up, thumbs down. Let's bring the arms up all the way and alongside the head. Without pressing your arms against your ears, keep the idea of adducting the arms so they're close in and the palms parallel. And then feel your anchor again, down into your feet. The diaphragm ribs, nice and tame now, not flaring. And then release the arms turning out and all the way back down to the side. Interlock your hands in front of you. I was just noticing in my posture as I am emphasizing a few things that I've locked my knees. So a reminder for you too, maybe soften behind your knees. And then keep your clasped hands, palms facing out, near to your sternum. Lift your elbows a little bit so that your chest lifts up. And then press your palms forward. Stretch all your digits, stretch your thumbs, and then bring your arms overhead. When I do this, I don't know why, but we have our little quirks. I tend to bring my head forward. So you might do this too. Bring your back of your head back a little bit, and you're in touch with your back body. You can feel your anchoring through your feet, the heels, and then bring your arms forward. Bring your knuckles in towards your chest again. Change the way you interlocked your hands. Keep the base of your fingers locked in, elbows up, and then press your palms forward. Good. In this movement, we're straightening the elbows if possible, and then palms to face the ceiling. Thumbs up, little fingers down, back of the head back, soft ribs, soft back of the knees. A little movement, but a lot is going on. And then let's release the arms out to the side this time and all the way, resting down. The next movement that we have done in the past, Gomukhasana, it's called in Sanskrit, is a movement for the shoulder blades and upper part of your back. So I need to use a belt on this movement. So you might too. But let's leave it just for a moment. We're going to break the pose down into two parts. So the first part, bring your right arm up towards the ceiling. We did that really nice grounding thing, so the right arm comes up, but the left foot presses down. And then bring that arm behind the line of the body to rest your palm on your upper part of your back. Opposite hand onto the elbow, and you can open up through the armpit, from the armpit to the tip of the elbow, and standing tall. And then I didn't know it was happening, but it happened while I was talking. My ribs started to flare, so I'll rest my ribs down again. Good, that's part one side, and releasing. And left arm, and pressing down through your right foot, fold that arm back. Hold it in. Good, stretch through your armpit. Beautiful, and then release. And let the arms swing free, just nonchalant. And then let's go right arm out to the right. We did this. Thumb down and lean forward and bring that hand behind the line of the body. This is the side where I'm going to connect my hands with the belt. So left arm up, fold that arm as you did before, and you're reaching, and if you can't quite get the hands together, then we'll use our accessory. Yes. And interestingly, everybody has their particular body, what do you call that, idiosyncrasies. This isn't a shoulder difficulty. I am not stiff in my shoulders, but my wrist is stretched, so it's keeping me from joining my hands, that wrist on that side. And then let it go. And second side, and we're going to bring the left arm in from behind. Oh, sorry. Right arm in from behind us. Oh, we just did that. Sorry. Erase that. Left arm out to the side, bend it in. I should know this. This is my so-called good side. And right arm up, reach back. It's as though this side is almost compensating for the stiffness in my wrists on the other side. So grasping the hands as best you can behind you, or holding with the belt. All right, and then let it go. And let's open and close the fingers a few times. Shake them out, shake your wrists out, elbows. Well done. All right, and then let's come to a side-on position. So I'm facing the long end of the mat. Correction, facing the short end of the mat. Let's do a very gentle and kind way of approaching Uttanasana, the standing forward bend, by emphasizing the fold at the top of the legs. So first soften your knees a little bit, and then hinge from the tops of your thighs. Deepen that crease at the top of the thighs and rest your hands onto your legs. Instead of folding down with your head down, keep your head and your chest up and project your chest forward. Now the diaphragm ribs are going forward, and there is just a little back bend in the mid part of your back. And then pressing your feet, and inhale and come up. And one more time, and a softening through the knees, a hinging at the top of the legs. And take your hands down, if you can, a little further along your legs, down your shin bones, towards your ankles. Keep your anchor through your feet, the forefoot and the heel, and lift the sitting bones up towards the ceiling. And then if you're comfortable in a full forward bend, keep lifting the pelvic floor, the abdomen up into your body, and come into a gentle forward bend as much as your body will tolerate at the moment. Good. And then from here, bend your knees as much as you need to do that, and bring your hands to the floor, walk your feet back, downward facing dog pose. And for downward facing dog pose, we're going to come up onto the balls of our feet. Keep your weight towards the inside of your feet, and the big toe base is strong here. Lift your heels, and then bend your knees, and see if you can find a way to bring more weight back towards your buttocks and your feet, stretching strongly through your shoulders. Stretching as much as you can through your shoulders. And how is that movement made? By drawing the hinging at the hips deeper, the fold at the hips deeper. And then bend your knees to the floor and take a version of child's pose with your elbows lifted. Lift your head and your chest, look at where your hands are, and come up onto your fingertips. Stretching the underneath of your arm, from your armpits to your wrists. Walk, tiptoe your fingers forward a little bit more. Long arms, maybe a little bit more. Long side body, still easy to breathe. If this is hard on your knees because you're compressing them, you can lift your tail off of your heels, whatever extent you need to. And then slide your hands back, and let's take another round of downward facing dog pose. And lifting your knees, lifting your hips high, and then let's walk the dog. It's such a beautiful thing to move through the bones of your feet, your toes, your ankles, and we can call this articulating your feet, and pay very kind attention to that movement as you lower your heels nearer to the floor. And then both heels stretching down. See if you can increase the depth of that hip crease, and also the crease at the front of your ankles as you lower your heels. Stretch back. And then lift your heels, bend your knees to the floor. Come into this version of child's pose. Up on your fingertips, tiptoe forward. Look out towards the where the hands are. Draw the underneath of your arms up into the bones. And then walk your hands back. Let's take a lateral version of this pose. So walk your hands around towards the right side. Just pad your hands all the way around to the right side. Now I'm still elevated. My head is up, my chest is up. I'm going to take my right hand around a little bit more, press the heel of the hand, and turn my belly muscles to the right. And then, if you like, lengthen out and bring yourself nearer to the ground. All around to that right side. And then let's take a walk to the left. And patting your way around to the left. Not about going down at this point, otherwise we'll miss the rotation. So lift your chest, turn your chest in this elevated position, turn your belly muscles, keep pressing strongly down through your left hand, and then You might try to go down at this point, bending your elbows. And then let's come right round to where we started. And back to downward facing dog pose, Adho Mukha Svanasana. And we'll stay in the dog pose to lengthen the spinal column. Feel your strong support through your hands, the elbows straightening, the tops of the arms rolling out like you did in the early warm-up with your arms and your shoulders, and lowering your heels as much as you can at the moment, and getting that long line at the back of your leg, heel to buttock. Lift your tailbone. And then we'll do proper child's pose, and as a way to restore our breath, bring your arms back, bring your head down, and fold down to the floor. In the last part here, resting, let the shoulders fall out, the shoulder blades release out from the spine. And then help yourself upright and take a yoga block and a belt. And we'll do a little strengthening work for the upper part of our body. So I'm facing the short end of the mat. I'll place the block there on the low end and the belt adjusted to the width of my shoulders. So the belt is bound. Like so. Whoop, too wide. Make it just so. So here I am in a kneeling position in front of my block, the belt above my elbows and shoulder width distance. This is a movement for the upper back and the shoulder blades, and it's supported by the arms, hands on the mat. So when I have placed the block, it's a way to keep my shoulders, my hands shoulder width distance. So here's the block, and my thumb's at the front of it, and the index finger on the side. Pushing down through my hands, index finger, thumb, elbows. I'm going to walk my knees back with my hips up now, and see how much I can, it's like doing a little push-up, is lift my chest away from the floor, away from the belt actually. Now I'm going to balance my weight onto my hands and my forearms, tuck my toes under, and lift off. So my upper body is in a kind of dog pose shape, upper body and hips and legs in a dog pose shape, and my head lifting away from the ground. And then down to ground. I could feel my shoulders starting to tire. And stay with me if you can, if you wish, and let's do another round of that. I'll take a sideways position so that you can see it, what it looks like when I'm all the way to this stage. So hands pressed down, they're my foundation, my forearms, my elbows, and then I'm lifting up away from the floor with dog pose legs. And knees down and resting my shoulders. And if you want a challenge, we'll have one more round and we'll be in a one-legged stretch. So hands, wrists, elbows, knees up, tailbone up. Take a step in closer to your elbows and lift one leg. And back to ground and the other leg. For today, we won't lift both legs. We'll save that for later. And then knees down, take away the belt. And the block is a very nice thing to rest your head on. Pull it in close. And I'm going to rotate it once. And in child's pose, just resting my forehead onto the block. Something about a little pressure there from the outside makes me relax better. So this is working with inversions. We could take that pose that we've just done in preparation to the next stage, and that would be a forearm balance. But like I said, we're not going to do that today. Leave your block and your belt to the side. And facing the short end of the mat again, bring your forearms back to the floor. Interlock your hands. You could bring your wrists all the way together. It feels like more solid foundation when I do that, or have your palms slightly apart. And then if I look at my forearms where I've placed them, my elbows are right underneath my shoulders, and my upper arm, my humerus bone, is vertical to the floor. From here, just practice working on your base. Wrists, the blade of your forearm, the elbow bones pressing down. That groundedness through my arms lets me lift up my shoulders and my shoulder blades. Let's see what happens when I take the weight onto my arms and lift my knees. Toes tucked under, knees lift up. And then back to ground and knees come down. Let's have another couple of goes. So my knees resting on the floor, my buttocks lifted off of my heels. I'm going to press my hands down and lift up as much as I can. And just to feel the contrast, what happens if I collapse my shoulders and let my chest drop? Then I lose the sensation of having a strong base. So coming out of that collapse, let's create the base strongly again. Wrists, forearms, elbows. Tuck your toes under. Lift your knees. Lift your hips. Drop your head. And stretching up. Now, if you wanted to, you could do that for one more time. Change the clasp of your hands and practice that one-legged leg lift. And I'll do that. This is where I really have to work to keep connected with the ground, a sense of groundedness through my supports. And then it's quite a nice thing here. I might even bring my block back in and rest in child's pose. Let go any residue of tension across your shoulders, across your upper part of your back. And then come on up. Now, I'm sitting in Virasana at this point. If you can sit this way and sit on your heels, that's one approach. Another one would be to be a little elevated and sit on a block. That feels quite nice. I'm enjoying that today. Or the end of your bolster. Take up your belt again. And my belt is still bound to the width of my shoulders. I'm going to bring it behind me this time and loop it around my upper arms, just above my elbows. And then as I straighten my arms here, getting this amazing opening across the front of my chest, make sure that you haven't flared your ribs and let them settle back down into your pelvis. So the arms come back, little fingers pointing back, and maybe you can even lift the arms slightly. Lift the arms away from the body. And then give it a break. We'll do that one more time. Just kind of seal it in. And taking the hands and the arms back in the back body line. Lift your little fingers a little bit more. Broaden your collarbones. Open your chest. And let it go. All right. We're going to take it easy in some seated postures and up until the finish of the session. So get what you need to sit comfortably. I'm going to sit on a folded blanket, but you might want to sit on a bolster. And keep your strap near to you. You never know, that might come in handy. And hearkening back to the beginning of the session, take your cross-legged position. When I was teaching yesterday, I had someone in class who liked to sit in Sukhasana. And this Sukhasana has you cross at the ankles. Or if you need to, with your particular seat, prop yourself up with some blocks underneath your knees for comfort. So, we're not going to sit in cross-legged very long, but remember to find your base on your sitting bones. Your foundation is your feet, your legs, and your pelvis. And then extend out your legs. Keep the crease at the top of the hips, at the top of the thighs deep, and then bring your legs into splits. Start with your legs bent a little bit and find the distance for your stretch so that it's still kind to the groin area, the inside of your knees, and then gradually push out the heels until the legs are straight. From here in Upavista Konasana, bring your arms forward and up and stretch up. And we've just kind of put us off our comfortable seat by extending the arms up. You're farther away from your center of gravity when the arms are extended in any way, but feel down into your sitting bones. Stretch up through your fingertips. Extend out through your heels. And then let's do a rotation and turn towards your right leg. And turn from the left side, the right side of your left side of your rib cage. And then bring your hands down alongside your right leg. Use your outside hand, your right hand pressing down to lift your chest and turn your ribs a little bit more from left to right. And at this point, no forward bending, but more lengthening out of your waist, lengthening out of your ribs. And then bring your arms forward and up. And still feel your base where you're sitting on your sitting bones, where your legs support you, and turn towards the left side. Turn a little bit more right to left. And then lower your hands down to support you. Press your left hand down, turn your right ribs a little further to the left. You can feel the diaphragm ribs coming around gradually to the left side. And then back to center. Bring your arms up to help you lift up out of your hips. And exhale and down. Lift up the inside of your knees, be gentle, and extend the legs forward in Dandasana. Sitting tall, sitting pretty. And then bring the legs back out to Upavista. Let's take another variation with rotation, and with the arms out wide to the side and stretching right to the finger pads, then turn your trunk and you turn to the right, look to the right. If possible, bring the right arm a little farther behind you. Bring the left side of your chest forward. And then bring the hands down alongside the right leg. Press strongly down through your right hand. Lift up your left arm and bring it across towards the outside of your right leg. Not only bring your hand across, bring your shoulder across towards the right side. And your belly turns to the right. All right. And then bring that left arm up towards the ceiling. Bring the arms out to the side, wide to the side. Arms like a biplane stretching out to the tips of your fingers. And then turn your whole body towards the left side. And a little bit more. And maybe bring that left arm back a little further. And then left hand to the floor. Bring the right arm up towards the ceiling and get as much length along the side body as you can. That's beautiful. And then reach out and over to the left side of the left leg. And lift up your ribs again. That is your left ribs lifting up. But feel your base. Part of your base is still your right leg. And extend away through your heel. Then let's bring that arm up towards the ceiling, right arm up, arms out to the side. Bring them in front of you. Lift up the inside of your knees and stretch the legs out straight in front of you. I'm adjusting my seat because invariably you tend to slip off the sitting bones or towards the tailbone. And then one more round and wide legs in Upavista Konasana in splits. Take a little while here and prop yourself up with your hands in front of you this time, resting on the floor in front of your pelvis. And have a look at your feet. See if you can make that crease at the front of your ankle nice and deep as you flex your feet. And feel your seat. And your legs are part of your base here, part of your foundation. So feel the calf muscles, the heel bones. You're still on your sitting bones. And then let's take as much of a forward bend as you can in this position. So we're coming from the bottom of your torso, the tops of your thighs. And in kindness to my back, I'm not bowing my back. The upper spine is still extended forward. Sternum is high, lifted. And then walk your hands back and grab the inside of your knees, extend the legs forward. And let's, in this sequence, put our Janu Shirsasana now. So keeping your right leg straight, bend your left leg out to the side. So left knee bent, and there's a space between your left foot and your right thigh. Then grow taller. I'm going to press my fingertips down into the ground and lengthen two sides of the body up to the armpits. Keep your right hand where it is on the outside of your right leg. Lift that left arm up towards the ceiling and reach for the ceiling. And then turn towards the outside of your right leg and cast that left arm forward. Wherever it lands is right for you. So that might be your shin bone, your ankle, the top of the foot, the outside of the foot. If you can grab the outside of your foot, turn your thumb down, hold the little toe side of your foot, pull back, lift up, turn your lower ribs all the way around to the right side. Bring your right hand back a little bit further, plant your fingertips down, lift up through the top chest, look to the right. Good. And at the same time, your left leg is still part of your foundation, so soften that thigh. Soften your right thigh. And then releasing your hands and gradually coming back to center and change legs. And the Janu Shirsasana with left leg straight, right leg bend. Support that bent knee position with the block if you need to at all, or keep a little bit more space between the back of the thigh and the calf muscle if that releases the compression there. And then here we go to this side. Left hand supports on the outside of the left leg. Take that right arm up towards the ceiling and turn at the same time, and turning from right to left. And then lean out over the left leg, reach out, and bring the hand down, the flat of the palm against the leg, or grabbing the outer arch of the left foot or the little toe side. And then let's do a self-correction and pull back and lift up and turn. And while you can still turn in this upright position, feel the ribs turn, the navel turn, the belly muscles turn. And then, as this is the last round, you might flex the elbow and go into a forward bend. You might go into flexion and bring yourself down towards the outside of the leg. The left hand is still pressing down firmly. And then inhale and come up and bring your hands to center. Bring your legs to center and stretch that right leg out. And we're ready to set ourselves up for a yoga relaxation with the support of the bolster, a blanket, and a block. So get your stuff. All right. For legs as up the wall as we know it, I'm going to use the big bolster as a way to elevate my hips. And what to do with the blanket? I'm just going to lay it out this way, out from the bolster, just to give a bit of padding for my shoulders. You can use your belt to bind your legs so that they stay together. And when you do that, then you don't have to use your leg muscles to keep your legs in that position. I recommend an eye covering. So finding your way into legs up the wall, give yourself enough time with a little bit of wiggling and jiggling to get in close to the wall. And then once you're there, if you are using the belt, you might bind it just above the knees. It's often the case that your t-shirt or your shirt rises up towards your neck and a little bit of feeling of suffocation. So draw the shirt down away from the neck. Draw your shoulders down away from your neck. Find a position for your arms where they feel the most comfortable for you. And then, where is your foundation here? So the wall supports you, but especially if you're on a bolster or a folded blanket, the soft prop is a place where you can let go the weight of your hips. So the buttocks releasing down where your shoulders are supported, releasing down. The elbows softening. And your facial features relaxed. And letting go on the level of your mind. Acknowledging that you're here for a little while. There's no place for you to go or nothing to do. So if the mind has tended towards premeditating what's next, planning, organizing, just reel the mind back to experience the sensations of your body and your breath. Rather than watching the mental images that the mind runs on the screen of our mind, allow yourself to watch the breath coming and going. And not so much even watching it, but feeling. Feel the pathway of the breath from its entry to its exit through the nostrils. And as a way to exit from the pose, but not quite yet, you might just slip the belt off if you had it on. And then begin to bend your knees towards you. You could press your feet into the wall and slide off of your support. Just far enough so that your legs can still be supported onto the bolster in cross leg or in Baddha Konasana. Bring your hands across your navel center and feel through the sense of touch, a sense of letting go there and connection. And we're in no way in a rush, quite the opposite. But when you feel that urge to move, then your knees up and roll to the right side, and then take another couple of breaths there. Let's complete the session by sitting together. And for this last part, bring your hands together in front of your chest, lift your elbows a little bit out to the side, and feel that connection, maybe with your eyes closed again, drawing the thumbs near to the breastplate and orienting yourself back to your heart center. A reminder to feel into your heart. When I do this, then I sense my connection, my long connection with yoga, and gratitude for the practice, and gratitude to what brings us together in yoga. And so we say, Namaste. Thank you.